Hi, hope you're all well. Hope you've had lots of time to get some sewing in this week. I thought I'd pop on here and just show you a few things that have kept me busy this week and some things I've got in the mix planned to do probably by the end of the week. And a couple of things I thought I could share with you that have helped me along my sewing journey. So, what's been keeping me busy? Well, firstly, a book that I ordered online. I actually listened to the Clothes Making Mavens podcast a while ago, and I found a really fantastic, enthusiastic lady who had shared a lot of hints and tips and had a bit of a different way of thinking about sewing, which I found really inspirational. And also just putting things in terms that people can understand if they hadn't had a background in sewing. And her name's Barbara Amodi. So this is a book I actually bought from Book Depository online. I'll put a little link up to that. It's called Sew, the Garment Making Book of Knowledge, Real Life Lessons from a Serial Sewist. And it's got just all sorts of little hints and tips, but different to what you would normally find in any sewing guide. So she really brings it back to basics, and she talks about her time teaching in a tech school in Australia. She's actually from Canada. I've just really enjoying them. I'm halfway through it. So I thought I would pop on here and just let you all know that if you're looking for a really good book with some basic information and some different ways of teaching, this is Juju. She's a rescue cat. So she's 18. She's going to come and say hello. We rescued her 2 years ago because her owner had sadly passed away and nobody wanted her. And we have actually got, 4 cats. So if you hear any noise, that's just her. What I like about the book too, she wrote everything your mother would tell you about sewing if your mother could sew. So a lot of people don't have mums that can sew, or they've had to teach themselves. And actually someone said the other day, I listened somewhere about how sewing has skipped a generation apparently. So back in like the 50s and 60s, it was very common, and even growing up in the 70s, a lot of people still sewed. Then you got to the fast fashion of the 80s. I think a lot of people just stopped. I mean, of course, there was people that still kept it up, but a lot of people stopped sewing because clothing became more affordable and more accessible, and that whole fast fashion trend started. So that kind of group of people, that age of people, probably didn't learn to sew. And I know when I learned at high school, it was pretty basic. You weren't really taught about garment sewing as much as just a basic, like a pencil case or something practical like that. But I think a lot of people miss that whole sewing, basic sewing and mending. I think it's really important to know how to mend your own clothes, or sew on buttons and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, if you want a really good read, and actually a really humorous, funny kind of way of writing, she's got her own style and she's pretty hilarious. So, get onto that. It's a really good little book to read. And I decided to wear my Me-Made sweater, which is a named pattern. It's the Sloan jumper. I think you'll find it's a little bit of more of a fitted sweater than the Grain Line Linden. It's a bit of a higher neck. I've got the Art Gallery jersey fabric, which I love. Just love Art Gallery stuff. It's really pretty. I love all the colours in it. So I decided to do the sleeve, the different fabric, and the top's just like a French terry. But it's actually it's a bit more fitted, and it's got the darts, the side up to the bust. So it's a bit of more of a fitted look sweater top. But yeah, it's great over jeans. So I made a couple of these, but I'm loving the Art Gallery jersey. This is from Wattle Tree Hill Fabrics online shop in Australia. So yeah, really nice. Another thing too I got in the mail is a Spotlight catalogue, which we all get excited when we get these here because they usually mean that it's a sale coming up. I pretty much have a sale on every couple of weeks. So you tend to wait for those sales because if you can get 30 to 40% off fabric, it's quite a bit of saving. But I did go and have a look in there last week. You know when you run in to get buttons and you try not to get sidetracked, buttons and zips I needed. And I thought, I'll just wait. I'll wait and get a few more things out of the way. I like to get through my stash. I don't like to get too big a stash accumulated because then I think it's best to get the pressure off yourself and sew what you have, even if it leaves one or two things in the stash. Get through that as much as you can, and then you'll find that you might even change your mind about what you want to sew and about what patterns and what the season's like coming up and the weather. So I try not to have too much in the stash. Sometimes it gets too much, and I think it's better to have a pattern and fabric in mind together. I really loved their print cotton linen blends. There's a gorgeous rust linen with I think it's a frangipani, or there's like a floral. It's quite a vintage, almost Hawaiian looking floral print. I'll just show you that rust one there, which is that one. That's what I've got my eye on, but I've got to think about what I want to actually make first. I love a good print. I can't go past a print. I'm just a sucker for anything that's got some nice rich colorways in there. So yeah, Spotlight this week. So while I was in Spotlight, I couldn't resist going through their clearance table, and I did get, I think the end of bolts at the end of season they have, if you buy 3 meters or more, they were $5 a meter. So I got a really nice Ponte jersey fabric, beautiful quality. It's got a lovely big leaf. You can see I'm mad on these leaf prints, but I just love the colors. Have a look at that. So what I've got in mind for this one, because I got 3 meters, which is quite a lot of fabric, so I don't want to waste any of it. So I was thinking the Friday Pattern Company West Cliff dress that's just come out this week. It's got the wrap front, the maxi version with a ruffle around the bottom. I'll pop some pictures up of the pattern. So I think I'm going to make that very shortly, because we're coming into that, the seasons are you're getting to that nice warmish weather day. Of course, it's probably too thick for that really hot weather, so something for in between. But yeah, that pattern looks really nice, and everybody loves Friday Pattern Company. I just thought I'd give you guys a little look at my latest little table I bought. I have got a sewing table in my lounge room, but I do love the light that I get in this room, so I kind of move out here for when I want to do a bit more intricate sewing with a bit more of a light filled room. So this I just got at a secondhand shop up our main street, and it's one of those tables that has the drop sides that you'll see. You can put them both out and make quite a big table. But I actually thought my daughters, they're all at university, the older ones, so they actually get on here and do quite a bit of studying. But when they're not here, I tend to steal it for the light, which I love. So yeah, I was quite happy with that. So I'll give you a little look. So yeah, it's quite handy for sewing that. I actually use that pool table over there to do a lot of my cutting out, so it becomes a dumping ground for like fabric, but it's always set up ready to cut out patterns on, which is brilliant. And this is my main kitchen room, and you can see outside at the moment the garden is looking brilliant because of the greenery. To show you the grapevines we've got growing around as well. You can see outside quite a bit of greenery happening. So we've got a nice canopy up there growing. So this is where we sit outside for summertime. But yeah, so I might film a little bit in here as well. So there's my little plant collection. Bit obsessed with succulents at the moment. So yeah. Another thing I purchased too a couple of weeks ago, I went online and I found a great store in Melbourne in Yarraville called Fibersmith, and they sell really nice Japanese branded pins. I got the glass head pins, the Sakura. They come in the glass vial, which is really, it feels really special. The needles are so good to work with. So they're not that expensive, but you really do get get what you pay for. Quality needles. They're just so much nicer to sew with. And I've never really bought anything other than just like a generic store-bought pins and needles before. So the Sakura, and these are Shishiko. So Sakura pins and Shishiko needles. And the glass-headed pins, and I also bought the little Japanese wooden linen pin cushion, and they are so much better than the old foam style. They just grip and easy to pull out and grip in really well. So they're from Fiber Smith, and I'll put a link to their store as well. So I thought while I was on there, I thought I would finally get a little buttonhole cutter. Wow, these are amazing. If you've ever done buttonholes and you just, slip with the old unpicker, it's not a good way to do buttonholes. So this, you just pop on a little cutting board, whatever, and you just pierce it and wiggle it around, and it just cuts through the buttonholes with ease. So yeah, that's the Clover brand one. They're really good. While I was there, I thought I would get some beeswax, and I'd heard that's really good if you're like me and you need your glasses on all the time to do threading. The beeswax, you just heat up and you rub it on the end of the thread, and it makes threading a lot easier. It's just amazing how much time that saves. I love the Merchant Mills, how their little packaging is so cute, little bees. Yeah, it's just something nice to keep. And also the gold tailor pins. I just thought these were really fancy. They're like Couture brand. They come in a nice little box as well, little round. And they are really fine. So for your delicate fabrics, lovely little gold pins. So that's for Merchant Mills as well. The Sashiko needles as well, another little packet of those. They're worth it, believe me. You will find it so much easier. And Fiber Smith, they always put a lovely little card. So they have a Facebook and an Instagram as well. They have yarn, like different wools, all sorts of fabrics. They have their online fabric store, and all their haberdashery and notions. Just really good quality. You'll find everything is quality. And they have Merchant Mills fabrics as well. So lovely little personalised card. So that's from Fiber Smith. A couple of weeks ago, I decided to finally treat myself to a better brand of scissors. And I've done a little bit of research with product reviews online, and there's so many different opinions with scissors. So I thought one of the older brand, I do remember these as a kid being around. The Ginga brand scissors, they are so good. I love the real snippy noise they give as well. There's something therapeutic about hearing that. So they were about $60, but of course you can get the bigger ones as well and the smaller ones. But yeah, I thought I'll start off somewhere and see what I think about that brand, and I definitely go for the Ginga. Another online fabric store with notions as well in New South Wales is called Selvage. I'll pop a little link up to them as well. They sell lovely Liberty ice bindings and fabrics, really good organic, and also bark cloth fabrics, which are really hard to find, beautiful quality. I went online and bought some more pins, so some little glass-headed pins from her as well. Merchant Mills. So I love how they've all got their little own packaging and little boxes. Makes it a bit more special. And the Tailor's Chalk is fantastic. I've never had that brand before, but Merchant Mills Tailor's Chalk and a little unpicker. So thank you, Selvage. They're lovely, lovely service as well. And they're on Instagram and Facebook as well. Another thing I'm in the middle of this week is the Abby jumpsuit. If you don't know, Athena Cacao Patterns, beautiful, a lovely lady. I've done a lot of pattern testing for her before. At the moment, her website is down. I think she's in the middle of revamping it. But her patterns, I have made probably about 6 of her patterns and found them to be really fantastic garments, practical, but also quite feminine. The Abby jumpsuit, I think she's named every pattern after one of her idols online. So the Abby jumpsuit, which is what I'm in the middle of, you can do a couple of variations. So we'll talk about that. I'm in the middle of, I've nearly finished it. So it's looking like a really comfortable garment as well for summer. So yeah, look online for Athena Cacao because she's online. She's on YouTube with a vlog as well. She's gorgeous. So, and everything of hers has free tutorials. So on YouTube, I think most of her patterns have a tutorial, which is great to be able to watch and do a sew along at the same time that you're sewing the garment. I picked up some more patterns too when they're on special a couple of weeks ago at Spotlight, the Very Easy Vogue patterns, which I love the V9253. I've made a couple of those. That's a real winner, that pattern. I actually heard, I think Barbara Amodi was the one that I heard suggest when you're looking at the big fall patterns like your Vogue, that kind of thing, or Burda. When you're looking at the patterns, the sizing is so all over the place that you'll end up not knowing, like especially like a maxi dress like that, it can be very hard to get the right fit, because if you go by your waist measurements and you go a size up, the shoulders will always be too big. So she said when you're looking at the sizing, measure around your upper bust, which is more your chest and under your arms, and whatever that measurement will give you, look at that measurement on the back and you'll see that that can give you your upper bust or chest. That's where you should look for your sizing. So instead of just looking at your bust and waist, look at that upper chest measurement. And I made it, I think it was an 18 in this, and it was spot on perfect. So I'm going to use that method from now on instead of worrying about everything else, because especially for a loose fitted dress, you don't really need to worry about the fitting around the middle. So yeah, try the upper bust, upper chest measurement instead of everything else, and see if that works for you. And next one is Very Easy Vogue 9311, and I think Ginger Thread Girl might have made a version of this with the sleeveless, but with the long skirt with the split up the middle. So she's kind of done both, like a hack of both together. That looked gorgeous on her. There's also one you can do with the sleeveless with a ruffle around the bottom. So that could be an option too for summertime. So I'm just thinking about maybe using a rayon for that one, or even like a crepe. The V9328, that's another really nice, more of an evening-y gown for going out in, I would think, because it's got a really dramatic back. It's got the keyhole, quite a big hole at the back. I'll just see if you can see that. Almost like a cutout. So you can make a really dramatic feature with that. Yeah, that's one I've been looking at, but I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that one yet, but I'll just pop it in the stash. The Very Easy Vogue, another wrap dress, the 9251. That's got some really great Instagram makers that have got on there, and you had good success with that. It looks like a lovely, lovely wrap dress, floaty kind of pattern. So yeah, maybe a wrap dress, probably the shorter version, which is more of a calf length, I think. And then the Very Easy Vogue 9292. This is more of a structured fabric. They say you can make this out of poplin linen or organza chiffon. So you can really, it's quite a structured skirt. It's like the princess line seams. It's got panels, and people have used like the mesh across the V at the front to sort of bring it all together. But that looks like quite a dramatic, might be nice for a Christmas party. More of an evening-y gown. I mean, linen would be great for daytime, but be interested to see how that would come up in an organza fabric. So, or chiffon. Yeah, it's interesting too. So that's my little stash here to keep me busy for the next few days. So I'll pop on here very shortly with the review for the Abbey jumpsuit, and hopefully have that Friday Pattern Company Westcliff dress all made up and ready to show you guys next week. So thank you for joining me. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.